A big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
Morning everybody, fantastic to see you all again. So I am at Crome Hill, which is a hill close to where I live, and I'm dead excited. It's the first time that I've been out since Christmas. I've had a little bit of a break. There's a little bit of mist over there. It looks like there's going to be a sunrise. Fingers crossed that the mist is where we need it. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out when we get up. But I'm going to be talking all about why I use Nikon. Okay, so the wind is blowing in this direction. It's so cold and there's a bit of mist there. I'm hoping that the mist is going to build up in the valley because we're going to be shooting this way. But at the moment, there's not quite enough mist to get the shot that I'm looking for. But there'll be other shots. Let's keep going. So I've been using Nikon now for well over 20 years actually, and I wanted to just explain why that is and why I haven't changed systems. And it isn't because I'm a Nikon ambassador, because that's only in the recent years, and I'm really amazed that that's happened, but I've loved Nikon for so long. One of the reasons I haven't changed systems is because I just feel like if you change systems all the time, then it's not good for your photography or any trade really. So, you know, if you're a joiner, my dad's a joiner, and I was speaking to him about this actually, and he's got a favourite hammer, and he's had that hammer for a long time, and it works, so why change it? And it's the same with my camera system. I understand it inside out, and I've never seen any real massive reason to change it. Okay, there's things on other cameras that I think, oh, that looks good. You know, like my dad probably sees shiny new hammers and thinks, I like the handle or whatever. But at the end of the day, it isn't going to make a huge difference to my photography, and I don't want to have to learn a new system. So I stuck with it. Right, let's get up to the top of this hill because it's not long before sunrise now, I don't think. We're a little bit late. The mist is sort of coming around, but it's just not in the bit where I want it to be, because I'd like it to be in the sort of bowl down here. But there might be some good long lens shots as the sun comes up over there. Oh, it's looking nice. Right, I think I found a composition. I've just been really careful with this tree here, just to see if I can sort of isolate it a little bit. Ideally we want some mist, because if we can get mist behind it, that isolates it a lot easier. But I think I've got a reasonable shot here, so I'm going to set up my tripod here. In terms of Nikon, I've been shooting digital Nikon ever since the D100, which was a 6 megapixel camera, and then I got the D200, then I think I got the D800, and then the D850, and then I moved to mirrorless. And I mean, Nikon probably now are not seen as the most innovative camera company, and I think they're always a bit late to the party, but when they come, they produce some amazing stuff. I mean, the D850 and before that the D750 were really incredible cameras, and then now in the mirrorless lineup, you know, they took a long time to get the lenses out and probably to do anything that was class leading, but the D9, the Z9 I mean, is just incredible. So I think that I'm not bothered about having the latest technology all the time. I just want to know that I'm with a camera company that will eventually catch up, and I'll talk about lenses in a minute, but yeah, they always catch up. Right, so this is the first sort of classic composition. I've been shooting this scene for 20 years actually, and I've never got a shot that I'm really happy with. I never seem to get the conditions. I mean, we've literally got fog all around us, but it's just not dropping down. So you can see there's sort of fog up there on the hill, or very low cloud. And the thing is with this composition is it needs something behind this tree. Also the sky here is very boring, but I've only got this peak here of Parkhouse Hill just coming up above the horizon. I've been a little bit careful. If I just explain my composition, I've been careful. I've obviously got a leading line of this wall down here, and then I've just been careful that this tree doesn't come in contact with this tree here. It does come in contact with the tree behind it there, but if I move any further over, then I lose the separation between the tree and the mountain here. At the moment, it's just quite nicely snug fitting into the mountain. So I think this is probably okay. Maybe I need to go a little bit that way just to hide that tree more and give it more room there. But I've got to sort of bracket this for the sky. I think the shot's going to be when we get a little bit of light and we start to then get some modelling of the landscape around. At the moment I've got my 24-120 on, around about 28 millimeters, and there's no foreground as such, which I might try messing around with some of the foreground, but at the moment there's no foreground, so I've just got it on about f7, focusing on just past the tree there. It's cold. So just whilst we're waiting for the sun to come up over there, I thought just have a look over here, and there's an interesting thing. I mean, the sky again is a bit boring, but it's a nice colour, and I quite like the wall leading to these sheep under the tree there. I feel like it might be a better long shot, sort of closer up, with just the geometry of the walls. So I might just come over here and see if I can get that shot whilst I'm waiting. Okay, the sun's rising over there, which should cast it could do with it being a little bit further right, but it's about as far right as it goes in the winter. There's some cloud just coming over the horizon there, so I'm hoping that they're just going to become more cloud and they're going to light up pretty good as they are doing at the moment. So yeah, I think it's quite changeable at the moment. There's a few more clouds coming over above as well. So I'm hoping that as the light comes up, there's going to be lots of things sort of reveal themselves as we get light on the landscape. Oh, it should be quite good. I'm getting a bit excited now. I see my camera as just a tool of the trade, a bit like my dad's hammer. It's just there to do a job. And the most important thing to me, more important than anything else, is that it works. And it works in every condition. You know, today's not that bad. It's like -2. There's no rain. But I've shot this in horrendous rain. It's been raining in the Faroe Islands for probably 4 or 5 hours at a time. It's got soaking wet through. I've been in like -20 degrees, had snow on it, covered in snow. I've dropped it quite a few times as well. You recording? And I have broken a couple of lenses, but I have to say I don't think I've ever broken the body of the camera. It is so robust. And that's so important as a professional photographer. You've got to just be able to rely on your equipment. And because I know that it works, it's just so good to know that I can trust my camera. And speaking about trusting my camera, I'm trusting that this mist is going to keep going, because at the moment it's stopped. And what I want it to do is there's mist coming from the right hand side there. I'll just do a video in a sec of it, and it's coming through, and you can see it's starting to diffuse the sun there. And if it comes through a bit more, then we might get a bit more of a glow, and that might be really nice, because at the moment we haven't got quite enough sun to make the scene really good, and we haven't got quite enough mist to create enough glow, so we're in between two things really. And this tree just doesn't stand out at all. But it doesn't always work, like the Nikon. I've just decided to go a little bit longer. I'm at 85 millimeters. One of the great things, as I said in my last week's video, is shooting with a 24 to 120 is I can just zoom in a bit closer. So I've just taken a shot here with the sun just coming before it gets in the cloud of just this little sort of scene over here. It's not the most amazing thing, but it's better than this because the mist there, it's creating a little bit of atmosphere, and yeah, it looks quite nice. So I've just got the road just in the bottom left hand corner here, which is catching the light nicely. There's a nice diagonal down there, a little bit of snow on the hill, and then the sun coming through. It's not too bad. Give it a 6 out of 10, I think. So it's typical, all the good stuff, all the mist has just gone over there where the sun is, and it looks really epic over there, which is good with a long lens, I think. So I might get my 100 to 400 out because I think it's looking really interesting. But this, it's just boring, there's nothing happening here. So I need to get my long lens out and shoot over there. So the sunlight now is, well, it's just about to go in a cloud, so I'll have to be quick, but you can see it's just lighting this side of this ridge now, so it's coming from the right hand side. That looks fantastic. This ridge down here all the way to Parkhouse Hill looks really good, but this tree is still not looking very good. It's not separated from the background particularly well, but I think it's okay. I don't think this is a bad shot. It's better than it was before. The lighting's still not perfect though, but we're still getting changing lighting, and at this time of year the sun stays fairly low, so just keep going really and see what we can get. Actually, it's got a little bit better now. So I think I'm just going to take this. I'm shooting at about 24mm. So I've got a little bit of foreground here, and I'm just making sure I'm exposure bracketing. F9, everything's going to be in focus because there's nothing really close to my camera. So I'm just focusing just on the hill and making sure that I'm just bracketing so I don't get any burnt out highlights, because I might just want to blend that in really nicely from the sun there. It's actually really nice at the moment, the light. Really, really nice. The light in the valley at the moment is really amazing. The clouds just creating this diffuse light. We're getting a lot of nice modelling of the mountain. So this mountain now, I say mountain, it's a hill. It's just looking pretty good. We've got a nice sort of road down the valley here. I've moved a long way to the right and a little bit higher because I just wanted to try and do a shot excluding this tree of just this bit, and a closer up one, which I'll show you. But also I wanted to just try and make the tree less imposing in the scene. And when I'm back over there, that works quite well. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. I want the light to come back on the hill here though. And at the moment, there's a massive cloud in the way. So it's good to have cloud, but not in the wrong place. Okay, so the sun's come out now. It's just a little bit near because it's just a bit high in the sky now. But I just want to show you a quick tip. You've probably seen this before, but I've got a flare, as you can see here, and I could just take the shot and try and put my flare hood on or try and block it. But the best way to do it is just cover the sun up, take the shot, and then take another shot bracketed with the sun in. And you can just blend those together in Photoshop. And can you see I can just get rid of that flare, and I can remove my hand when I blend it in Photoshop really easily. So just a quick tip. There's a video I'll link here that shows a little bit more detail of how to do it. So the other thing that I love about Nikon, and this is very personal I think, and you need, if I was giving any advice to you when you're looking for a camera, this is probably one of the most important things. All cameras a really good quality. All cameras are going to take really good photos, but the ergonomics of a camera, how it feels in your hand, is so important. And I just love how Nikons have always felt in my hand. And then because I've used them for a lot, I just know where all the buttons are. I can pretty much use a Nikon in the dark. And I think that that's so important for me, just that those ergonomics, how it feels in your hand, how you can get to the controls. And I think it's really important to go and try cameras, go and just test a few different cameras and see what you like. In terms of ergonomics though, one of the things that I don't like about the Nikon is when you're shooting a vertical shot like this, you can't tilt the screen up. Now you can, I think, on some of the newer cameras like the Z50, I think, and the Z9 as well. But on my Z7 II, you can't, and that really frustrates me, because when you're shooting like this, certainly with a bad back, you just want to tilt the screen up. So Nikon, if you're watching this, do that. All right, so we got to the top, and I didn't think there was going to be anything, but I think I might be able to find something with the foreground here of this frozen rocks. I don't know, we'll have a go. There's the tree down there that looks quite nice, that sort of these rocks frame, so I'm going to have a go at that. I think it might be pretty good, but not 100% sure. So it's all about trying to find a foreground that I like. I'll come back when I found it. Oh, so I've got a shot here that I'll just show you. Now it's a bit wider than it shows on the camera here, but one of the things that has been consistently good with the Nikon cameras is the screen. And I've seen on workshops other people, especially with Sony cameras, I think Sony might have improved it now, but the screens have just never been as good as the Nikon, and people that look at these when I'm on a workshop will always say how good they are. Same with the viewfinder, and that's really important to be able to see what you're framing up and see the dynamic range, the colours involved. I think they make a difference to the composition, so they do improve your photography to have something that looks like what you're shooting. And what I'm shooting here is this scene where I've just got this little bit of frozen rock here. It's probably not the most amazing bit of rock, but I've got this tree down here that's framed, and then a ridge line round to Park House down there. I think it's a bit bright now, if I'm honest, but it's worth taking. And yeah, that's pretty good. I've just seen a little scene over here, and it's probably not much, but it's quite a nice one with the sheep just hiding behind the wall, and then a little shed with the frozen fields. So whilst I'm talking about this, just wanted to talk about the other thing that I like about Nikon, and then something as well that I think could be improved. So Nikon were late to the game as usual with the lenses, but they always come with quality glass, and having lenses that are really good quality and optically good is more important than having more megapixels. So I'm not worried about whether I have 45 megapixels, 40, 24 or whatever. What I am worried about is the quality of the glass, because that means that you're going to get a really sharp image. And the Nikon lenses are super good. I spoke about it in last week's video. I'll put a link to that if you didn't see it here. And then the image quality in the Nikon is also really good. But to be honest, I think image quality is pretty similar in most of the brands. There's different colours, and people say, oh, Fuji's are greener or whatever. I mean, to be honest, you can go down to the bottom of the panel in Lightroom and mess around with how the pixels are converted from an RGB point of view. And you can create any colour science from any camera, I think. So I don't think it's that much different. One thing I really wish that Nikon would do though, and I think it's probably the same with other camera manufacturers as well, I think some have adopted this now, but when you take your lens off, just to be able to have a cover that comes across for the sensor, so you don't have to keep cleaning the sensors, because I think having to clean your sensor all the time, and I've done a video as well, if you want to know how to clean your sensor, I'll link it here. But having to clean your sensor all the time is frustrating. And I say all the time, I mean, I do it probably every few weeks, but I change lenses a lot. So I'll show you this photo. I'm going to walk back down now. Okay, I think that's it. I think the light's got a bit harsh now. What a beautiful day though. It's got a lot warmer now, which is good for my fingers. But I want to reiterate that the most important thing is that I'm not changing my camera system. I like it. It's got a few faults. It's got lots of things that I love about it. And because I know it so well, then that is what is making my photography get better every year. If I change to another camera system, then I'd have to learn it, and I'd be thinking more about the camera than I am about the composition and what I'm shooting. And that's what's most important. And when you shoot those amazing photos, then it's good to have somewhere to put them. And that's why I always try to upload my photos, certainly on my new site, to my website. And I've got a gallery there. I did it with Squarespace, who are sponsoring this week's video. And if you're looking to set up a website, share your photos in a gallery, or maybe you just want to start selling your photos and do an online store, then you can do that with Squarespace. There's a link in the description, or you can go to squarespace/Nigel or use offer code Nigel for 10% off. That's it for this week's video. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next Sunday, bye.